Hi, this is Abby Dara. Today I'll be sharing 4 tips for making meetings matter in your role as the facilitator. Being a good facilitator isn't the same as knowing how to manage people or run a meeting. It all comes down to understanding the tools and structure that help people collaborate. Here are the 4 tips. Understand your role. Design and plan, guide and control, and manage group dynamics. Tip number 1 is to understand your role. Facilitation is about helping the group to have an efficient and inclusive meeting. It's also about making sure everyone can be involved in discussions and making decisions. The facilitator's main role is to guide a group through an event to a successful conclusion. It combines a series of roles and tasks. Good facilitators stay neutral, winning the trust of everyone in the meeting and treating everyone as equals. At no time do they make decisions for the group or take sides in a conflict. As a facilitator, you may need to call on a wide range of skills and tools, from problem solving and decision making to team management and communications. Your key responsibility as a facilitator is to help the group reach a successful decision, solution, or conclusion. Facilitation can take a lot of mental effort. Neutrality is also important. If you have an interest in the outcome or have skills, experience, information, or authority which is important for a successful outcome, then consider having someone else facilitate. Competent facilitators have both personal characteristics and acquired skills that make them good at what they do. Many good facilitators make a difficult process seem very natural and intuitive, even when lots of planning and training goes into the craft. Good facilitators value people and their ideas, think quickly and logically, are excellent communicators, and are both product and process oriented. Tip number 2 is design and plan. With the group's objective firmly in mind, preparation for the meeting or event is all important. Plan your strategy. Whether you're planning a straightforward meeting or a complex event over several sessions or days, it's important to keep in mind the outcome and how you are helping the group reach it. Here are some tips to formulate your strategy. Prepare in advance, determine the who, what, where, when, and why to help figure out the how, choose and design the format, confirm the objectives so that there aren't any surprises, keep the outcome in mind, and develop an effective agenda. There are many ways to design the format. It's quite an art. As part of this, consider the number of participants, the nature of the topics under discussion, the types of involvement people need to have, the background and positions of the participants, how well they know the subject and each other, the time you have available. And remember, whatever format you define, it's a question of keeping your focus on the outcomes. Find the best way to achieve the objectives of the overall event. Designing the agenda goes hand in hand with designing the format. Things to keep in mind include: in what order should the topics be presented? When will you recap and summarize? How will the outcomes of one session flow into the next? How will you achieve closure of the overall event? The agenda helps both leaders and participants know what to expect and how to prepare. With the agenda and group process in place, it's time to think about how you'll guide and control the proceedings, which leads me to tip number 3, guide and control. To guide and control the meeting, you will need to set the ground rules, set the scene, get things flowing, keep up the momentum and energy, listen, engage, and include, monitor checkpoints and summarize, and intervene only if absolutely required. The most difficult types of intervention are those involving conflict, anger, and disagreement. To keep the event flowing and positive, watch for and close any side conversations. Keep a close eye on the timing. Intervene when a discussion isn't reaching a natural conclusion. Be on the lookout for people who aren't participating fully. Pay attention to group behavior, both verbal and nonverbal. Step in and mediate immediately if there are obvious personal attacks. And use a parking lot to capture items and redirect the conversation. Tip number 4 is to manage group dynamics. In your role as the facilitator, you may have to deal with unproductive behavior, steer the group towards staying on task and on time, and stimulate productive inquiry. Difficult behavior is often unintentional or occurs as the result of an emotionally charged situation. You might be dealing with inattentive members who are multitasking. You might also be dealing with personal agendas or disrespectful behavior. Progressive intervention will most often assist you in dealing with behavior that does not help the group achieve its meeting goals or objectives. With groups of passionate and knowledgeable people, it is easy to veer off onto other topics or easily get sidetracked by minute details of a conversation. A parking lot is a useful tool for documenting issues, non-related topics, questions, and redirecting the group to the topic at hand. Don't be afraid to refocus the group on a specific agenda item. If things get stuck, let the group decide on what direction to take. While passionate people often have a lot to say and suggestions for action, it is not uncommon for groups to experience lulls in an ongoing conversation or a standstill in a single event. Here are some ways for stimulating productive inquiry. Keep the conversation going, invite debate, invite the experts to speak up, call on individuals for their opinion, or use probing questions. Remember that as a facilitator, your key responsibility is to help the group reach a successful decision, solution, or conclusion. Thank you for your time, and feel free to contact me anytime for more facilitator tips and tricks. Have a great day.